Hello YouTube, welcome back to the Basement Card Collector. Today's video is going to be a VR video. A VR trifecta, as you can see from our graphics department here in the channel. We're going to combine 3 VRs into one video, the trifecta. And you can see the 3 channels, 3 great channels. Doug at Don't Talk to Robots is asking for a VR contest, Red October. Show off your 5 best red cards. We're going to do that. Number 2, our buddy the Drew at a Vintage Legacy is asking for a one player that played for one team and best represents that team over a long period of time. And so we're going to get to the Drew. And third and final for this video will be John over at Wade Boggs Fan. He is asking for you to pick your one card you could choose. If you had to pick one, your favorite card, and then the why. And so I thought I'm going to love all 3 of these channels. I've been sub to all 3 of them for a while. I'm newest to Doug at Don't Talk to Robots, maybe a month or 2 ago. And then the other 2 I have been subscribed to and watchers of for quite some time, but I wanted to do a VR to support these three great channels and thought it would be fun to make a VR. So here we go. Number 1, we're going to go with our new buddy Doug at Don't Talk to Robots. He's got a great channel, and like we mentioned, he is calling his contest Red October. Your 5 favorite red cards. And so I had some that came to mind right away, and I actually have more than 5, so I'm going to put them out for you, and there's no real certain order. And when I first thought of red cards, maybe some of you thought as well, how many thought of Big Red 1990 Donruss? 1990 Donruss was the first set that I ever built, and so it has this kind of a special place in my heart here, all of the red going on. And I just pulled 2 cool 90 Donruss cards, the Juan Gonzalez, the reverse negative, and we actually sent this out to Juan for TTM. So when I think of Big Red 1990 Donruss, that was the first set I thought of, 1990 Donruss. We're going to call that like 1. My second idea right away was a really cool set back from 1989 Score, which is the year that I started collecting, was this 89 Score Superstar. I just love the red. My favorite color is red. My first high school was red and blue. I went to college and it had blue, and I just always have loved red and blue. I love the Cubs. And this 89 Score, I just right away, this was the second card I thought of. And again, it's probably not high on many people's want list, but I thought for Doug and this red contest, no doubter. And then my first card ever of Deion Sanders is this Pro Set. And it's kind of a red-orange tint if you're trying to get too picky, but it's what made me start collecting Deion Sanders. It's what made me start liking Florida State University. I love that tomahawk, just love that card, and love Pro Set in general. So there's our third card. Sticking with the Deion theme, this was a card I found putting some cards in over the weekend, and when I heard of the contest, I only thought of the Pro Set, but I thought, man, how cool is this though? All red, Gridiron Kings, Deion on the 49ers, so that kind of hits 2 of my PCs. I love the 49ers. I love Deion, and he was a Niner just for a season, and he picked up a Super Bowl ring. So all red, Gridiron King, Deion Sanders. And I have one more in the red realm of a Jerry Rice with the red hot upper deck. Even that upper deck logo itself being red. How sweet is that? Some cool 1990s upper deck cards. And one more 49er, pretty cool. And my newest of my red collection is a Deebo Samuel jersey card. big Niners fan, and I got a piece of red material here for his red contest. But my coolest Reds card, I think, and it's one of my newer acquisitions over the last couple months. I've been trying to add some vintage cards. Super pumped to have this. Check this out, Mr. Johnny Bench of said Reds. And so again, I'm trying to pick up some vintage cards in my collection these days, and I'm super pumped to pick up this card not too long ago. And that is going to conclude the VR for our buddy Doug at Don't Talk to Robots. Some kind of five if you count couple twice, and 2 Deons as one, and the Nani Donruss Gonzalez as one. Pretty cool cards. Please check out Doug's channel. I will leave a link to his channel in the description below. We're going to slide this over. We're going to move on to our next VR, and it is going to be VR number 2, our buddy the Drew, a vintage legacy. And Drew has a really cool channel. I mean, let's face it, if you're not subscribed to him, you need to, first. Number 2, he's just great at telling stories about cards and about how he has cards, just what the cards mean, and just a really cool dude. And he's actually one of the first people on YouTube that I sent a prize to. He won my first contest like 100 years ago, and I actually sent some cards to him. So he has a special connection for me when I think of YouTube and the great people here in the community. His VR is to talk about one player that best represents one team. He played for one team in his career. He's just a great spokesman, if you will, the greatest of that team, you know, of all time, I guess you could say. And my first thought was to go with Ernie Banks. I am a Cubs fan. Love Ernie Banks. Who doesn't love Ernie Banks? And then I had a couple other ideas, and the guy that I actually chose here is going to be maybe a shocker, but I'm going to go with not a Chicago Cub, and I'm going to actually go with a guy named, how about this guy? Mr. Tony Gwynn. Here he is on the 1985 Super Donruss big card, Anthony Gwynn. Again, I did choose some cards of Tony Gwynn. I didn't pick any of the obvious cards. I didn't pick his 83 tops or any of his rookie cards. I picked some shiny cards, some cards that I just love the images of, and I like to show some off and just see. But Tony Gwynn, he played, here he is on the really sweet 1985 tops with the flip downs. Awesome jersey, of course. And he actually was drafted to play in the NBA, I believe also. ABA or NBA, I could be confused with that. But he was a basketball player, obviously a baseball player at San Diego State. But he also was a great point guard, and so he was actually drafted in 2 leagues. Here he is on the super shiny Fleer 1995 team leader card. It's just he is Mr. Padre. And if you're also a watcher of my channel, I've been asking folks to fill out these all-time player polls. And if those of you that are doing that, thank you. That's really fun to do and really easy to do, actually. But he is the only person so far. I think I've uploaded like 20 of these things. All-time Met, all-time Yankee, all-time Red Sox. Who is the all-time Mr. Cub, and who is the all-time Mr. Red Sox? And a few of those people, I think it would be not too crazy to think that Ted Williams would be 100% of the votes, and he isn't. And the same thing for Stan Musial for the Cardinals. He is not also 100%. I've done, I think, maybe 20-ish, and people, the only person that is actually 100% after like 76 votes, it's Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn is the only person so far that has 100% of the vote to be the all-time Mr. Padre. And here he is. I just chose a cool 92 Stadium Club. Love those Oakleys. Got the ear flap on the helmet, very cool. And I have two more really sweet cards. I mean, check out this thing. It's got some refractor-ish feel, some shiny silver, and some epics. I think those are from Pinnacle 97 or 98, I think. But just how cool is that card? That's in the 90s, folks. The late 90s, getting it done with some of those really bizarre. And here is the last Tony Gwynn card for my VR for the Drew. A 2001 Topps Gold Nuggets Tony Gwynn. And again, look at the shine on this. The guy has 3,000 hits. I think he gets credited for being like the first to watch film, maybe in-game and post-game, and just could get you a base hit. 3,000 hits. He did pass away too young. After his retirement, though, he did go back and coach some college baseball, and is just well known for being Mr. Padre. And so for the Drew, I chose Tony Gwynn, and I just picked some cool cards of his to represent Tony. And we are going to leave this Pinnacle Museum collection up over there. And that will conclude my VR for the Drew. And again, I will leave a link to Drew's channel in the description below as well. Let's see if we can get Johnny. Here's a little bit of Debo. All right, final one, folks. Our buddy John, Wade Boggs fan. My word, he has an amazing Wade Boggs collection if you don't know about him. A really good channel to listen to. And he's just a really nice dude with a great Wade Boggs collection, but also a huge vintage collection. And I'll leave a link to his channel below also. His VR, he is asking for you to talk about or to choose one card if you can only pick one. And if you're collectors, if you're watching this, you're a collector. You have tons of cards, and if you listen to other folks on the videos, that's my favorite card. That's my favorite set. That's my favorite card, and that's my favorite set, but it's the same person talking, and it's legit. It's hard to pick just one. And when I'd watched several people in the community making a VR for John, and my first thought was it was a no-doubter for me, and it really has a really cool connection to me just starting and being a young collector way back. And I wanted to show this card to support John's channel. It's my Andre Dawson rookie card, and I just to hold it, and I took it out of my sleeve just to hold it like it first was when I first acquired this way back. And it has a little ding down there in Denny Walling, and the John Scott corner is also kind of mashed. And I've had chances to pick up better looking copies, but for the one card that I would pick, it's my Andre Dawson rookie, and he is my favorite player. Love all things with Dawson on it. And for his contest, that one card I would take, and it's kind of a funny story, but way back when I went to my first Cubs game, and it was July 8th, 1992, and I was so pumped that we had tickets, and I had no idea what that meant. We're from a very small town, and it was not like us to go off to the big city of Chicago, and to spend this money on the tickets was just a really cool thing. It was in the summer. It was July 8th, 1992, and I'll never forget it. I wore an Andre Dawson hat. It was a white Cubs hat with like his name embroidered in the side. If anybody would remember what those are, a type of hat, but it had his signature like facsimile in the side. Wore my favorite Cubs shirt. I took my baseball glove because I was convinced I would be getting a ball, and I took this card with me. And I thought, I am for sure going to see Andre Dawson. I'll get him to sign this card, and it'll be the coolest thing that's ever happened in my little life as a about 11-year-old boy back then. So we get there, we get to our seats. We are actually sitting down the first base line near the right field corner. We are sitting on the very top row. I remember the chain link, you know, the safety fence so nobody topples out of Wrigley Field. We sat down, and I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be happier. I can see right field. There he is right in front of me. It's the Hawk playing right field for the Cubs. They're playing the Reds that day. And long story short, I did not meet Andre Dawson that day. I did not get this card signed, but it is the card that makes me think my very first, obviously it's my only copy of the rookie, but it's my very first connection to Wrigley Field. And way back on July 8th, 1992, a young boy brought this card with him I believe it was in the middle of the book, like just a book from school. I didn't really have cases. I didn't really know what that was all about just yet. I had pages and binders, but I didn't know how to take this one card with me. So I believe I had a book that I just kind of laid inside that cover to keep it in there with my glove. And I hauled that thing up all of those steps and all of those seats to the very, very tippy top seat in a row of 6 seats that my family filled up. Loved it. Dawson did have an RBI. It does have a really cool connection with my younger days. And so for John and the Wade Boggs fan channel, this was a very quick VR for me. I do have tons of cards, and I do have tons of cards that I like and that I love, and they're my favorites, and that's my favorite card, and this is my favorite card. But if I had to pick one, it would probably be this Dawson rookie card. And it just was really cool thinking about being there that day. And on a side note, it was a game that ended with a walk-off beanball by Rob Dibble. He hit Ray Sanchez, walked in the winning run, and that was how the game ended. And the Cubs were victorious 3-2. So these 3 great channels, I will leave links to all of them in the description below. Please check them out if you haven't, or if you're not subscribed to them. They're really great guys. They're really great channels. Doug at Don't Talk to Robots. The Drew at A Vintage Legacy. And the third and final one we just finished off was John at Wade Boggs Fans. So thank you for watching. Please check their channels out, and we'll see you next time.